Okay, in this tutorial we're going to go through a records management system for NorthWest in Fort McMurray, Alberta. So let's log in here and take a look around. What we have is a records management system that manages all of the customers, the projects, repair orders, and any customer attachments, drawings, anything like that. So we have an overview page here now, and the overview page will contain a list of all of their current customers, and below that will be all outstanding projects, and then below that will be all outstanding repairs post-project. So to get started here, we are simply going to hit Add Customer, and by hitting Add Customer brings us to this page here, and we can enter the customer detail information that we have here. So I'm just going to enter that in quickly. Okay, so we have the basic information here filled out on the customer, and we can now use this as a task manager. So if we're going to have to follow up with this customer here, we can pick a follow-up date here. So if we say on the 18th of Monday at 9 a.m., we're going to place a call to this customer. So now we have the detailed information here. We can see the task is due in 4 days' time, so we'll save that. And now that we have that information saved, we now can go down and start a project for this particular customer. So we're going to go back to the main page here. We're just going to stop at that particular spot. So now we see we have a list of customers. There is the new customer there with a task due for May 18th in 4 days' time. That will count down. It will turn different colors. It'll be yellow if it's coming up in the next 2 days. It'll be green if it's today, and it'll be red flashing if it's past due and it wasn't taken care of. Whenever you're adding a customer to the database, it's always a good idea to first do a quick search to see whether or not there are any customers in the database already before you start adding new customers. So if you were to search for Smith, you would see that that customer doesn't exist, so then you would go ahead and add a new customer. And you can get that by just simply clicking on the magnifying glass for the search icon. And that does a wildcard search of the entire table here to see if that information or if that customer exists. So now we have the information here on that particular customer. What we might want to do now is kick off a project. So kicking off a project, search for the customer's name. You can see down here we have no outstanding projects, so we're going to kick one off for this customer here, and it's just adding this related icon here. We're going to add a new project or a new repair order. In this case, it's a project. So then we go ahead, we have the project here. We can have a start date, site location. It may or may not be this address. If it is, same as the billing. And then we can go down in this section here and fill out the description of the quote that we're providing to this customer. And you can see from the status of this, you would be able to change this from a quote to a permit. And this is going through a typical build phase for a new construction or something like that. And these statuses, these are totally customizable. So it was a permit phase, then a build phase, then an invoice phase, and then closing the contract or closing the project out completely. So we're going to leave this on a quote phase, and we'll fill in the information here. So I'll just fill in some basic information. Okay, so we have some basic information in on this particular quote. So this is for the removal of a deck and the replacement of a deck. So now we're just simply going to save that information. That information is now saved, and we can now print that invoice. That will come up, and it will have the information here, the quote, and you can print that out and deliver that to the customer. Once the customer has accepted the quote, you can then just simply come in, change the status from a quote back to the permit stage if in fact it requires a permit, and then just continue through your workflow as to what this is. And in this particular case, all you really need to do is just simply change that to the permit phase, so that when we go back here, we can look at it and it would show that that is now in permit. We can easily right click here and we can do some grouping, and what this will do is it will show us, quote, we have 3 permits, we have 1, and this could keep track of where we are, what projects we have at what stage. we can save that so we can retain that. So now that we have that, there may be some additional information. There may be some customer drawings or something like that, some blueprints we want to attach. So again, it's clicking on the add related. We're going to do the attachments. You can see it has the project ID number there already. We're going to browse. We'll find an attachment. We'll just use this and we'll open this up, and you can see that that would bring in the attachment. So the attachments would be there. I could hit save and back, and now there are attachments contained to that file. The next step to this would be accepting payments. So you can see that there's $5,040 owing on this, and we're going to process a payment. So we got to say a $2,000 deposit. Again, we locate the invoice that we're looking for, or the project, click the add related. We're going to get an invoice payment on this. It's going to assume the full amount, but we're just going to take a $2,000 deposit. It was paid via cash, and we can say that was a deposit on the account. I can do a save and back, and I can see the balance owing on this particular file. I can at any time view the record to see the details of the payments that were placed on this file. I could click the customer ID and go back to the customer's information here. I can see any ongoing projects that are here. If there's any repair orders can be done from here. They also can be done from the customer database, customer report on the main page, which would be here. So if, let's say Mr. Link here had a repair order to some previous work that was done, I can just come in here and hit repair order. And this is going to be customers paying for this, nature of work. And we're going to say customer would like to replace the door. We're going to do that for them. We're going to do it today or tomorrow, and we'll do that at 9 a.m. So now we have that information for the customer. So we're going to hit save on that, and then that work order gets done. So we come back to this application. And then we can put in a price there. That would help. And we could say that that was done and it was completed by, and now we can just save that information. So now that information is saved, you may want to kick off an invoice for this. So we could just simply add a project or an invoice here that will fill in that information as to what this was. You could take this information here and just take it out of there, place it in here, and now you have the cost of the project here for the repair order, and it is same. And now we can put this down to an invoice and save. So now this is a repair invoice. We can print that invoice, get that off to the customer, and get paid. So that's a quick overview of the records management system for NorthWest, and thank you for your time.